Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Winners Ways podcast. Today, guys, we have an awesome guest, Matthew Stibble, who is a serial entrepreneur, a marketing specialist, a writer, a pilot, and he's also a wine enthusiast. But today we are going to be talking with Matt about marketing, SEO, how to attract more customers, and if you have a website, how to bring in more visitors to your website. You guys are going to find this super beneficial. So, hey, Matt, welcome to the show.
Very nice to be here, Bola. Thank you for having me.
Fantastic. So, Matt, I just did a little bit of a teaser about you, but my audience, they would like to know you. So do you want to tell us who you are, what you do, and what my audience will gain from, listening to this show today?
Sure. Well, I run an 18-person marketing agency in the UK. So I'm very familiar with website design, development, SEO, getting visitors to your website. We're a HubSpot Diamond partner. So we use HubSpot software to do customer relationship management, marketing automation, sales enablement, analytics, websites, all of that stuff. That's the tool that we like. I've been doing that for almost 20 years. And before that, I was a freelance journalist for a few years. I used to write for Wired and Popular Science and people like that. And before that, in the very long ago, I used to run a computer games company that I sold in 2000. And I just want to make clear, I do like wine, I do like flying, I do like writing. I don't do them all at the same time.
Yeah, that's fun. It's good to hear all this background about you. So yes, I read about your computer game company, Intelligent Games. Is that what it's called?
Yes. Crikey, long time ago.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. I love playing games whenever I have some minutes on my hands. So that's pretty cool.
Me too. And it's very nice now I'm not doing that to enjoy games as a civilian, just to actually enjoy them. And we used to do a lot of games about the Dune books, that science fiction thing. So we did a couple of those. And because the film just came out last year, suddenly everyone is ringing me up wanting to do interviews about these games that we used to make about Dune. So I've had a lot of that sort of nostalgia, but it was a long time ago. I sold that business 22 years ago, and I just enjoy games now.
So Matt, obviously you have a very impressive background. I see that you have created marketing strategies for companies like Microsoft, Google, LinkedIn. It's a big accomplishment, in my opinion, to be able to have these big players as your clients. So definitely that shows me that you know what you are doing, especially when we talk about marketing. So I want to ask you, for the purpose of my audience, what is marketing? How can maybe an entrepreneur, start the discovery of marketing, or how can they launch their marketing plan so that they can attract customers?
Well, you said it yourself. The heart of marketing is to attract customers. It's the art and the science of bringing people to you so you can start a sales conversation. But I think if you step back from that a little bit, marketing requires this sort of imaginative exercise where you try to understand your customers' needs and problems and ambitions and pain points. So there is a sort of a research and a human sympathy bit to marketing. Marketing also requires, I think, that you understand what you are selling. And I mean, that's sort of obvious. Most people really know their product very well, but actually understanding what they're selling in the context of what potential customers need and want, so that you can have a communication, a relationship, an engagement with people that's based on talking to them about their needs in their language and positioning your product in that context. So HubSpot talks about connect and close, attract, connect, and close. So getting people to your website, communicating with them, connecting with them, getting them to fill in forms, start a relationship with you, download something, and then closing them through the sales process. We talk at Articulate about informing people and connecting with people and inspiring people. It's the same thing. So it's the third big part of marketing is how you orchestrate and organize and run and inspire that journey, that customer's journey from who on earth is Articulate Marketing, who is Matthew Stibbe, through to, you know, I've got a problem they can solve, they understand my world, they understand my language, they know what, and I like what I'm seeing, to, you know, where do I sign? I want to hire you guys. And that it's that journey. And I think a lot of people think marketing is just a sort of bolt on to sales, and sales happens at the end of that journey. And in my view, the earlier you can engage with people in their thinking, and the more you can talk to them, as I say, about their issues in their language, the more better marketing you're doing, and the easier the sales will be.
Perfect. I like the way you put it. It's all about attracting, connecting, and closing, you know, converting the sales. And I'm going to explore, you know, the marketing best practices. But before then, I want to ask you about common mistakes that you've seen when people talk about marketing. What are those mistakes? I know you talked about relationship, communication, understanding your products, which are great, but what are the maybe one or two mistakes that you've seen maybe in your agency that people make when they, you know, want to promote their product or services?
Sure. Well, we mainly work in the business to business technology sector. So yes, we have these big, lovely multinational clients like Dell and Microsoft, but mostly we work with small and medium-sized companies. And in what is true of technology companies probably is true for most businesses. It's this. I understand my product really well. And if I can only tell you about how great my product is and all the wonderful features it has and all the technical details of it, you will inevitably want to buy it, right? Because you are, as the entrepreneur, the expert in your business. The thing that the passion you have is about your product and about solving that thing and typically about that technology, the expertise you've spent your life developing and manifesting. Most people in the world aren't spending any time at all thinking about you, your business, your product, right? You know, you have to earn that engagement with them. So the first big, not understanding that is the first big problem, actually. It's just marketing isn't just telling people about your product. I sometimes call this the sushi problem, right? There's a huge difference between sushi, which is like an appetizing, tantalizing, exciting experience and food, versus cold dead fish, which is a technically accurate description of what you're eating, but is not marketing, okay? So the sushi problem, that's the first problem. There are more, but the second big problem I sometimes see, and it's related to the sushi problem, is what I call the man or the person in the mirror problem, which is to assume that the person you are marketing to is like you. Meaning not necessarily like, you know, they like wine and flying and writing like me, but they have the same life experience, they have the same technical understanding, they have the same needs and things. So the thing that motivates you to do your business, I find this a lot in my world where I assume everyone thinks like an entrepreneur and they really don't, right? So I have to do quite a lot of imaginative work to understand how people actually live their life. I've been a lifelong entrepreneur. That's an example of this. In clients we have, they think that the person in the mirror is also a technical expert, and they want to know all about the speeds and feeds and technical details of the product. They don't. They just want to know how it's going to solve their problem. Right?
Absolutely.
So man in the mirror problem and the sushi problem, they're the two starting points, I think.
You know what? That's a great way of explaining it, because like you've said, marketing is not only about knowing your product, but you must also know your customer, understand their pain, understand their challenges, the problem they are trying to solve. It is by, you know, knowing that you can now pitch your product that, hey, this product is going to solve this problem for you. And I think with that, you'll be able to do that, attract, connect, and convert. So that's excellent, Matthew. So, we've talked about the problem or the mistakes that people often make when they do marketing. Now, let's talk about marketing best practices. Maybe a template that you can give my audience that, hey, whenever you are ready to market your product or service, this and this are what you need to do. Can you take us through that, please?
Well, best practice. There are hundreds of best practices and disciplines and tactics. Let me share probably an important thing that is a unifying best practice. And that is the difference between joined up marketing and what I call random acts of marketing. Okay, so random acts of marketing is, well, we tried online advertising for a few weeks and I spent $500 on it and nothing happened. That's just, it's random. We tried it, didn't work. I tried blogging. I wrote a couple of blog posts and we didn't get any customers. I did a podcast for a few weeks, nothing happened, right? Random point solutions. Joined up marketing takes a pretty comprehensive view, even if each of those elements in that joined up marketing plan is what you might call a minimum viable product. You don't have to be Microsoft doing, thousands of pages of marketing plans, but you have to think about your audience. You need ideal client profiles, personas. You have to think about that's who you're talking to. You have to think about what you're going to say. So you need to think about products, customer pain points, positioning, messaging, how you communicate that. You need to think about tone of voice, how you want to speak, get some consistency around that. You need a content plan. You need to think about how you're going to engage people, typically thinking about blogging, but it can be video, it can be social media, it can be, how you are going to reach out to people and plan that and, talk to the customers about their issues in their language. How you are going to present yourself online, so you need to think about your website, but also the journeys through the website and how you're actually going to attract, convert, and close on that. You need to think a little bit about the technology platform that you build all this on. And that sounds a bit scary for people who are not geeks. Short answer, try HubSpot. It's going to do everything. That's a free bit of advice because I love HubSpot and I use it all day, every day, but there are other integrated tools out there for doing this stuff. You need to think about your sales process. And there are a few other boxes that you need to sort of put a tick in. All of this stuff has to be happening. And if you just pay attention to one area or another area, you're not going to get a full marketing output. It's going to be random and inefficient. And I know that sounds like an awful lot of work, but in practice, the cost of not doing all of those things in terms of the missed opportunities and the lost leads and the slow growth is much higher than the cost of thinking it all through at some level, doing something, joining it all up, and then iteratively improving it. So joined up marketing is a best practice. Self-education is a best practice. Iterative improvement is a best practice. Now, I'm giving you these very sort of abstract thoughts because, you might be running, somebody listening to this might be running, a hair salon on the corner of a street, or they might be running a 500-person technology company. It's very hard to be very specific with the different audiences, but those are some thoughts. I don't know. Ask me a different question. It's I'm going off at a tangent here.
No, I think you are presenting how marketing should be done, right? Obviously, you have many years of experience doing this. You have your marketing agency, as a matter of fact. One thing that I do is to connect my audience with experts, because like you explained everything, it's not everyone out there that will be able to grasp the concept and start doing it. Some people will need the experts to guide them. And that's where I come in. If my audience, if they want to connect with you, to learn more about marketing, SEO, getting visitors to their website, how do they go about that, Matthew?
So let me, having gone from the very general let me drill right down into a couple of specific recommendations for people who are beginning to think about this. What should they do to get started? Let's start with something that sits, in my view, halfway between marketing and sales, but is fundamental to both, and that's the customer relationship management database, CRM. I think it's really important that you have a place, a single source of truth where your customer data lives, that you can use to engage with them with email and track the sales relationship and the marketing relationship. Okay, so go find a CRM. There are lots you can use, MailChimp, HubSpot, and so on, that are relatively cheap to start with, but will scale up. So that's the first thing. Second thing, getting the website right is very important. Even if people aren't coming in through your website to buy things from you, everybody is looking at your website these days to decide whether they want to do business with you. So they use, sometimes it's people coming in through SEO and they're finding you online and they're engaging with you and they're filling in a form and becoming a customer. About half of our customers come into our business that way, just finding us online. But even if you're just talking to people you already know, or you're doing, event marketing or PR or something, people are still coming to your website to check you out. Make sure you're okay. So tip number one for your website is, it is better, in my opinion, to have a smaller, simpler website that has crystal clear messaging to your audience than to try and write War and Peace. And it's really common for people to go, well, we need a page about this and a page about that and something. Most companies have a website that is too complicated and has got too much stuff in it, given that most people are only spending a few minutes looking at your website, right? So simple, but good. Second point about websites, you do not need to get all Steve Jobs and have like the world's best original award-winning website design. You can see all these books behind me on my shelf here, right? They've all got a cover, they've all got a back cover, they've all got pages, they've all got page numbers, they all have fonts. Most books are basically similar to other books. You don't need a grand design and an expensive designer to do that. It's the same with websites. Most websites, people know how to scroll up and down. They know what a website looks like. They know how to use the menu. You don't need to reinvent any of that. You're not going to win any prizes. So just use a really simple template. I mean, you can get them off the shelf. You can sign up for a HubSpot website for free these days and build a really nice, simple website. Pay attention to the journey, the copy, the messaging, and the thing that you're doing to connect with people. Don't worry too much about making it like super sexy. That can come later when you're Apple. Third thing, I think it's very important to, you talked about expertise, the way that you establish your credentials, your thought leadership, your expertise, your relationship with people, the way that you prove to potential customers that you understand their worlds, their pain points, their problems, and you can help solve them, in my opinion, is with a blog. You write every week, at least once a week, something that is interesting, relevant, and useful for your audience from your platform. Now, I'm a writer, so I go with a blog. I've been running a blog since 2006. If that doesn't work for you, podcast, webinar, social media, but something where you are consistently helping, sharing, being useful, relevant, right? Always be helping, not always be closing. That's the mantra. And the last thing I'd say is a sort of starter for 10, and then I'll shut up and let you ask something else. The last thing I'd say is, if you've got a website, yes, you need a contact page. You need a form where people can fill in and, do that. However, you need more than that to turn your website into a lead magnet, into a lead generating machine. If you have only a contact page on your website, typically, in our experience, about 1 visitor in 1,000 is going to use that form to connect with you. And there's lots of reasons why that happens. Either they don't want to be pestered by a salesperson, or they think they're going to be ignored, or they're not ready to buy yet. 80% of website visitors are not ready to buy. So you need to have some other things that can start that connection. So you might have, for example, I don't know if you're swimming pools, you might have a buyer's guide to swimming pools that says, here are all the materials you can use to build your swimming pool, and here is how you get planning permission. Big problem in the UK. Here is some of the things you need to know about keeping a swimming pool clean. Here's how options for heating, right? If you're going to buy a swimming pool, you might not be ready to talk to that company yet about getting them to come and dig a hole in your garden, but that information, how to choose, how to decide what's involved in building a swimming pool, really valuable at an earlier stage in the engagement. So on the homepage, you can have contact us, download our free guide to everything swimming pools, and click that, fill in your name, fill in your email, fill in your phone number, get the free guide, and then you can start. That's the connect stage. You can start that relationship. You can start sending them an email saying, we've got a special offer this week on swimming pools. We've got this webinar that we're running about swimming pools. We've got, what you can just nurture them so that you are building that journey from, I don't know if I want a swimming pool, I might, to I want a swimming pool and I think I know what's involved and I know how to choose, to I'm finding somebody who's going to come and build my swimming pool for me. And those guys who helped me here and who have emailed me every couple of weeks along the way, they're the first people I'm going to phone. So this engaging people earlier in the buying cycle and bringing them into that connected relationship with you, that's really important. And there is no business, in my opinion, no business on this planet that can't do that. Most businesses on this planet, most of the competitors of your business, dear listener, they've just got a contact form. So you can steal a march on them and outcompete them by just doing this one thing.
Wow, that is so good, Matthew, because I totally understand the concept that you just explained with the freebies. I have that on my website at a point, and with that I was able to collect maybe almost 1,000 email, and that was my CRM. I know you explained the CRM piece, building my database. And, I was able to now start emailing these people, telling them about my products, my free courses, and I think more people, they need to embrace this idea. So that is so good, Matthew. Thanks for sharing that with us. You have Articulate Marketing. Tell us about your website. Tell us about the process of engaging with you so that you can start helping people that want to, start building their own marketing plan.
So we have a lot of resources for people who want to think about some of the things we've been talking about today. We have a blog with nearly 400 articles on it, including the ultimate guide to SEO. I'm using air quotes there because it's never finished and we're always adding to it. But there's all of that sort of free, useful, value before commitment resource for people. We have not courses in your sense, but you can sign up and get an email course in marketing that's going to send you an email a week for 6 weeks with really useful resources and information in it. We have, golly gosh, probably in the order of 50 downloadable white papers and guides that are all free. I mean, you have to give your email address, but then you get the guide. We've got webinars, so we don't podcast, but my colleagues and I do these fortnightly webinars where we talk about some aspect of marketing. So we've got nearly 50 of those on the site. They're all free. You can just download them and watch them. So all of that is at articulatemarketing.com. And it's our gift to the world. We strongly believe as part of our culture that we have to share what we learn. Mm-hmm. If you'd like to hire us, fantastic. There's a contact form on the site. We'd love to hear from you. But the main thing is, please come and look at those resources, and I hope they're useful.
Oh, that's awesome. So, guys, there you have it. If you want to connect and learn more about what Matthew, what he does, please check out his website, www.articulatemarketing.com. So other than that, Matthew, where else can my audience find you? Do you have a Twitter account, Facebook page?
Yeah, I'm like the worst person. Oh, did you see the lights just come on there? I'm absolutely the worst person for social media. You can connect with me on LinkedIn if you like. That would be nice. I have a personal blog that I write about management and leadership. at the intersection of technology, and it's called geekboss.com. I'd love it if people wanted to go and have a look at that. There's nothing selling there. It's just me writing about that stuff, and a bit of Lego also on that, and games. Yeah, so connect with me on LinkedIn, or go look at Geek Boss, or go look at Articulate Marketing, and drop me a line. I'd love to hear from you.
All right. Thank you very much, Matthew. It's been nice having you. And I'm going to let you know once we get this published. Thank you for your time.
Bola, it's been a great pleasure. Really enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
All right. Have a good one.